What up, people? Okay, we're back. We're gonna do a little bit more. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so first of all, extensions are good. So we're working on the first pass of the save system. We're gonna continue with that. Setting the timer, 65. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we were, let's see, we stopped at line 23 in save logic. So let's go over there, open that file up, and let's go to line 23. That's where we stopped. Get rid of that. Get rid of this in devlog as well. And I get rid of that in devlog and stuff because I'm not gonna know, you know, those lines are always gonna be changing. So, all right, so we're gonna work on the visual data save function, and this is going to be the function that we use to save all the data associated with the visuals. So this would be things such as, let's put pass, and then we're gonna put data points this concerns, and we're gonna have each card's X, Y display layer, and this would also consist of progression text and other text, and yeah, I think that's about it, right? The text, the X, the Y, the display layer. I think that about covers it. Yeah, I think that's about everything. I can't really think of anything else. So, how does this get accomplished? Like, how exactly is this going to be done? Well, we would probably have to iterate through the card group to get all this information, right? That makes sense to me. Would iterate through card group. What is it called? Card group dictionary or whatever. To get this info. Or we could have this, and let me put this as a note here, should be executed where? At the end of every draw window main call. And yeah, so a draw window main is what handles all the visual, like it handles everything in one function. So that means I'm thinking here about how the data is going to be reapplied. Upon connection. So the card group integer is going to be the same every time. It's for the deck. Like that means the deck is created in the same order. So whenever we like reconnect and recreate the deck or whatever, we would have the same way of referencing the card objects. Because it all has to tie in, right? I don't want to just rush through and just throw some code up. Let's think about this. So yeah, we would reference it through the card group ID. So each card has an associated integer ID that it would be associated with, and that card has an attributes X, Y, display layer, etc., etc. Now, it doesn't really make sense to just resave every single like object if that object hasn't been changed. It makes more sense to only save those objects that have already been changed. Like if the data hasn't changed on a particular card or set of cards, we don't need to keep iterating through that group and saving it. You know, that's redundant. I would just call it, that's dead code. So what we could do is we could have it execute through the X, Y, and display layer setters, which means this function would have to be ported in to these X, Y display layer property setters, so that whenever you change any card's X, Y display layer, it gets saved. It will update the database's entry related to that card. And I think this would let's see, I think that would also apply to like progression text setters and everything. So we could place function calls inside of pertinent property setters, i.e. X, Y, display layer, progression text, what else? Like the we would initially, this would be for dynamic or fluctuating adders, and then we have the static adders. These are ones that never change. This would be the things such as the hand text, player name text, etc. You know, the stuff that gets set once and then never changes. We need to call the function but this place function calls inside of pertinent adder setters. So let me rearrange this a little bit. This should be up here, and then that will be there. This will be here. Yeah, so we have, it needs to be executed at the end of every draw window main call, dynamic fluctuating adders, and static adders. Well, actually, this would... So we have the data points that concern dynamic fluctuating adders, static adders, need to add initial function call that handles this. Would only need to be saved 1x, because that stuff doesn't really get changed, because static call function inside of associated setters. Yeah, that's easy. Put this incense out. Okay. So this would be called where, concerning the static ones. Would be called inside of the main, like the main client file. Inside of client py preliminary section. After setup. So call it 1x inside or after setup. And this would be called infinity x. So it would just be called over and over again. Yeah, so we're not going to save it through iterating through the card. So this is really the same question. This is like basically the same question. How is it going to be saved, and it should be executed where? So it's going to be at the end of every draw window main call. Okay. So I think that's good. I think that would work. We would do this through the draw window main. But would that be excessive? Like redundant, if we're already calling it every time a card's X, Y, or if we're calling the save function every time any data point is made related, any data point change related to visuals is made, then why would we need to call draw window main? I mean, why would we need to call it inside of draw window main again? Because draw window main is called as a result of visual changes. But doesn't that like beg the question? I mean, well, yeah, doesn't that beg the question of why would we call it in the setters if we could just call it in one place? You know what I mean? It's like placing a lock or placing a trigger at 10 different places when all those 10 different places lead to one door, and instead of like having the 10 locks or whatever, we could just have one. So it seems to me we wouldn't necessarily need to put it inside of the setter. Okay, all right. I see what I see why. Okay, because draw window main doesn't change any data. Draw window main just re-updates the visuals, updates the visual aspect that reflects data that's already been changed. And if we were to do the save function inside of draw window main, that wouldn't let the save function know what needs to be saved. You would just be like, save everything. But if only one thing was changed and everything is like 1,000 data points or 100 data points, why would we save 100 data points when we only need to save one data point? So if a draw window main is the result of an individual is the ultimate result of an individual data point change, and we need the precision of where that data change happened specifically, it would be redundant to have it inside of the setters, which we have to put them there because we need to know exactly what card's data was changed, and like instead of having to go investigate and find what card was changed after the fact, we would have it automatically save whenever that card's data was altered. That seems to be the common sense option. So we're not going to do it at the end of every draw window main call. So concerning that, let's go over here. We're calling this the loop data save function. And that does take an arg, the checkpoint ID. It'll determine which subset, each subset of code will be associated with each checkpoint / section. Yeah, so draw window is actually, we're not gonna do that. So we're gonna nix that. So we really have the receive, the apply, the send, filter, and I guess we would call one of the other checkpoints would be, we can call it visual. We'll say visual. And in this case, we would call the visual data save function. Okay. So this is basically any time draw window main would be called. And we can change the name from draw window main to just draw window. Or even better, we could just change it to update visuals. So that's something that I probably should have done a long time ago. Let's add that. Let's add that. We'll change, and I do it like this. We'll say draw window main to, we'll call it update visual. Or we could just call it draw window, because that is what we do. We draw in the window. Update visual is like the conceptual equivalent of draw window. Like draw window is basically the same as update visual. Which one should I choose? Draw window or update visual? Personally, I think update visual is better. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. Change name of draw window main to update visual. We say update visuals, plural. Update visuals. right? So we'll hold off on that. That'll be, we can change that at a later time. Let's put this down here. Okay, get this file set. How data actually gets saved? We say save functions. One that saves visual data. One for each checkpoint that saves regression loop. There we go. Stake an arg. Yep, that's all good. Where's some checkpoints? There we go. Checkpoint locations where each checkpoint main thread is located. Reconnect data application logic. So I don't think we're gonna do the double-threaded save option. We're not gonna do that. I don't think we need it. Okay, yeah, so now this basically needs to be refactored, this outline, to reflect more of a application rather than the concepts. So let's change this. We'll just get rid of this. Yeah, so I don't want to have this stuff in like a bunch of places. I just want to have it all nice and tidy in one place. So got this file refactored being wow. Okay, this is prettier. This is better than what it was. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so what we're going to need next is a list of all the data points that are going to be affected, right? Yeah, we need like a solid actual list. So where did we put this? Okay, so we have save mechanism / logic. Logic inside of functions, visual, and then game logic. Yeah, so that would be this right here. So we'll say this will be our next step. The step would be create list of all visual data points. So it's got to be comprehensive. And we're gonna have two sets. We're gonna have static, and then we're gonna have our dynamic, which are always fluctuating. So dynamic would be X, Y, display layer. It would be each card group ID. Progression text. Multiple choice text. Text 1 and multiple choice text 2. What about 2 and 3 of these? I'm not sure. Well, no, these aren't static. I'm tripping. These are dynamic. This would be player hand text, which I don't know. What is this called exactly? I don't know. Player pre-sort play cards text, and then player play cards text, and then player melds text, player red 3 meld text. That's not the exact name. We can figure out the exact name. What else? Player hand, player pre-sort play cards, player cards meld red 3. Well, since we're gonna have the score, so we want the score to be visible as well, so we're gonna say play score, and I guess round score if we're gonna show that as well. I know there's more, but what else? For static, player name. So this would be all right. And then dynamic would be the player's hand, which, well. Yeah, I mean, I would say this would go along with visual because technically the X and the Y determines the visual, but it's the, like, we need this data updated anytime it's changed. You know what I mean? Like, that's a new checkpoint. Anytime any visual changes happen, which coincide with this directly, the cards being appended to the hand or whatever, and this, that, and the other. Yeah, because when we restored it, I was just thinking, if we restored it on a reconnect, we wouldn't just, like, we wouldn't want to reappend the cards to the hand and all that stuff. I wouldn't want it to be done like that. I think I would rather it just be, like, set via an equal sign, you know? Like, player's hand equals these cards. Not, you know, append each card that was in the player's hand to the player's hand. I think we would just do an equal too. which would bypass the typical card movement visual sequence, which is usually done through appending and a popping and all that. So yeah, I would say we would need this. We would need this data. Yeah, for sure. So player's hand. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't being redundant. Like maybe I could just do X, Y without the hand data, but I don't think one would replace the other. You like technically we could append them, but I wouldn't want it to be that way, if that makes sense. Because for one, that would create a visual effect of like laying the cards back down, and I would rather that not happen. The cards would just already be exactly where they're supposed to be, like teleported, you know, like they would just boom, they would be exactly, it's like walking away from a table of cards and coming back, you know. So the cards are just supposed to not be moved. So yeah, in that case we'll say we do need the X and Y, and we also would need the hand data, the pre-sort play cards, the players play cards, and then the players melds, and the players red 3 melds. What else? Maybe the black 3 meld? I can't remember. I think that's more of a classification than an actual card group. I don't think black 3 meld is an actual card group. I think it's included with melds. And like I said, we're gonna have to go through this, and this is we're gonna have to test it and stuff. But I think that we're on the right track here. So we got hand, pre-sort play cards, melds, red 3 melds. Play score, round score. I mean, this is a good start. So let's go through and get the proper name for these. So we can do this the right way. We're going to need the proper name for all these. So these are all going to exist in, well, the card group ID. That would be, I think if we open up game and we go to, let's see, card group. So we have the card group, which is a sprite, and then the card group dictionary. So that's what we want. We want the card group dictionary. We'll say card group dict ID, because that's how we identify each card. So yeah, the key is the card ID, the val is the card object. So object, oh yeah, and we do have the object card group dictionary, so that lets us know all these things I was talking about. So we need all this. We would need, this is cool. We have the deck, the discard pile. Well, that's static as well, but still. So we have the P1 hand text object. And certain things wouldn't even need to be saved, like they would already be the default. So anything that's never changed, we wouldn't actually need to save. Like the deck and the discard, that's always going to be the same. So we would not need those. But we would need the hand and all that. That does change based on the player's name. So that would have to be saved. Um, yeah, there we go. So we can copy this, and this would be under. I mean, it's static in the sense that it only gets changed one time. So I would put this under static. So let's paste this here, fix the indentation, and then let's add in our little pound, because you know I gotta have those. All right, so now we have each card's group. Let's see. So we can get rid of. So that would include the hand text, the pre-sort play cards text, the play cards text, the melds text, and then the red 3 meld text. Then we would need the P1 name, and then the P2 dot name. I mean, technically we could just get the name and then reassign those, you know, but it's like, it's no big deal to just save it. I feel like we could just save it, you know, like to only save P1 and P2 name, and then derive all of these from P1 and P2 name. I don't know. I mean, that's technically that's valid and logical. Is there any reason to do that versus just well, it would help it would be more organized, and I guess you could say it would be safer to just save it and load it, because this save file is going to handle saving and loading. It's not supposed to handle game logic, you know what I mean? And like, if we derivatively assign this stuff through game logic based on these two names, that would not really fall under, like, that would be organizationally not optimal, and it would also possibly like cause bugs. I think I would rather just save it and restore it. I think, you know, I can only think before I actually do it and then find out I thought wrong, but in this case I think we would want to save them all. It just makes more sense. There's no reason not to. It's not like a performance impact or whatever. I don't think that, because you're only doing it one time anyway. Now if we did it over and over and over again, I would say yeah, maybe just save those two, and then whenever you have to restore it, let it be restored off of that basis. So okay, what else? We have the text object. Well, these are all going to be the same things. But we're going to have more, right? We're going to have the player name text. Okay, here we go. We got the rest of these. So let's get these copied and let's paste these. We're going to have to divide these up to put them in their proper spot. So first all, let's get rid of the self, because that's not needed. Then we'll go and get rid of the, well, we can't actually do it like that. Just have to go one by one here. Well, actually, hold up, I'm tripping. These are the rectangles. We don't need the rectangles at all, so we can totally do it like that. Alright, and we also want to get rid of the object part. We just want the text. Okay, so now we'll go here. Whoops. Okay, cool. So now I chop them off, and we have the, let's have P1 player name text. Yeah, like that would need to be saved. Yeah, because that is the player's name plus like player or whatever. That says like P1 name is Joshua, P2 name is Merrifield, whatever. It's that string. So that is the specific data structure that we're looking for regarding. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Okay. So progression text. Oh yeah, we have progression text. Do we need the progression text object and progression text object 2? Now this I'm not so sure about. Progression text object. Okay, there's the progression text, and then the progression text object is derivative. The 1, 2, and 3 is derived from the text, singular. So, and the object is our render. It's not even. Well, in that case, though, as far as not wanting to like append stuff and go through the process, but rather just have it instantaneously be restored, we might Well, we could just call draw window main and it would like take care of this stuff, right? Well, okay, so just because we're not gonna like reappend all the cards, that's a separate. That wouldn't have a visual odd side effect. Or that would have a visual odd side effect. But the setting of the text objects in their natural way, like meaning if we just set progression text and let the setter do the rest of the work upon data restoration during a reconnect, I don't think that would cause any visual bugs or like any game-ish bugs. I think that would be natural. Like it would work fine, and it would save us from having to like manually set the text, then manually set the object, then manually set the rect, then you know what I'm saying? We could just, in the cases of text, we could just use the actual. We would just save the text itself, and then when we set the text upon reconnect, that would allow us to derivatively set the rects, the objects, etc., which would, you know, it would just be a lot easier and a lot less stuff to save. So I think we'll go with that option. So in this case, I don't think we need progression text 1 and 2 and 3. We just need the singular because of that fact. So let's get this tidied up here. So we have progression text, and let's put a dot in front of it. So we have dot. Well, all these are gonna have dots in front of them. So I'll just go ahead and put the dot in front of them. Dot display layer. All right. Okay, here we go. Enter continue text. Enter continue. Well, enter continue text is always the same, isn't it? Is it always the same? I'm not sure where this one should go. Let's put this one off to the side. Okay, and then input text. Input text is definitely dynamic. And then multiple choice text 1, multiple choice text 2, that's definitely dynamic. I think we might have this figured out, guys. I think this might be... Yeah, okay, so I think we're going to stop here. That's pretty good. That's a good start. We have the list now of all the ones that need to be saved, and except for this enter continue text. Let's see if we can figure this out real quick in our last minute. Actually, I'll just wait till next time. I'm not worried about it. So we're going to close this out. I'll put that we stopped here. at line 24. Let's see. At line number 24 in save logic pi. Very good. 725 to 831, and then we're going to go ahead and stage and commit these changes from 832 to 833. Cool. All right, and the time is going to be to 8:33, which is an hour and 8 minutes. So we'll just say an hour. So we'll say 2.25. We'll copy this and let's see. Stop here. Things to go back to things to do. Save logic step 5. Create concept list of all visual data points. All right. Yeah, so this is where we stopped. We'll copy that as well. All right. Cool. So let's go ahead and keep it nice and clean. It's very clean. I love it. Very organized. Let's check our branch. Time is up. We're on new feature branch. We're going to do git add. We're going to do git commit -m. Whoops. Got to recopy that devlog because I overwrote it. And you know what? We should probably have these as separate from now on. We should probably do it like that. We should probably, for clarity's sake in our devlog commit messages, we should probably do it like this. We should probably basically just copy this. We're going to have two separate devlog entries for the same day. And instead of having two different times, we'll just have one time per session. So each session is going to be divided up like this. So this one's going to be 317.25, 345 to 455. This one's going to be 370.25, 725 to 833. And I think that's cleaner anyway. And then we'll get rid of this. See? So now we have two different devlogs, and they're cleaner to look at and are more proper in the sense of our git commit messages, because we want those to be crystal clear. So there we go. See, now it just shows the date, the time of the actual session associated with the commit. Since we already committed the previous session, you don't want to really relist that, because that's not accurate. We didn't, during this commit session, this session from our last commit to this one, we didn't do what we did in our last session. Like, so that's not an accurate commit message. This is more accurate here. So there we go. Now let's do git push to the repo. And you know what I want to check real quick? I did want to see what is the visual format of the git repo, as far as what does it look like, our commit messages. So let's go here, not to main, we're going to go to new feature. There we go. And then let's look at Canasta, and let's look at this one. Let's see what it looks like. So this is our commit message. Okay. So it looks exactly, well, almost exactly. So apparently there is something that allows this to be like a title, and then this to be considered like the message. And I guess it's the first line. It's because this was all on the first line. So all the rest of it is considered. Oh, so this is considered a title. So the first line of a Git message. Let's ask ChatGPT about this. Git first line of commit message is considered commit message title on GitHub. Yes, on GitHub, the first line of a commit message is treated as the commit title and is displayed prominently in commit history views, such as pull request, commit, listen log. Keep the first line short, 50 characters, and descriptive. Leave a blank line before the body of the message. The body optional can provide more details, or up to 72 characters per line for readability. Fix login bug and authentication. Okay, so you're really supposed to put the title. Okay. So from now on, we should really do our commits in terms of title, and then let me put this as a reminder. Yeah, we don't need to worry about that. Well, we'll leave that because deadlocks. Hey, I've forgotten about those a few times. Always stage from root commit push to. Always copy. Back of the lookup sheet into the session. General consider deadlocks, but even more so. Commit with first line being descriptive title, such as first pass save system. You know, something like that. Or, you know. Yeah, whatever. There you go. That's good. Since it shows as commit message title in GitHub repo, or in GitHub. Or it's not just in GitHub, it's in Git entirely. So commit with first line being descriptive title such as first pass save system. It doesn't have to be all caps. Okay, so there we go. That's we're getting better. Let's go ahead and we're going to make our make our local backup here. So let's go to programming, projects, Canasta, copy, back out, go to backup, delete the old, and then paste in the new one, and then go to devlog, go all the way to the end. There we go, that is correct. Now we go back. It's already going to be updated to the proper date, so yeah. Anyway, that's it, dudes, and yeah, I'll see you